a lot of instances in my feminist classes, we have learned how toxic masculinity also like hurts men, and it does. I agree with your points that toxic masculinity, or I don't know if that's what you are arguing.
Well, I don't actually even believe in that.
Okay, but you're arguing
I don't believe that you can just be toxic as an individual, but I don't believe that masculinity is toxic or that femininity is toxic.
Okay. I would argue, personally, from my perspective, I know we don't see eye to eye on this, but I'm just trying to shed light on mine.
Sure.
I would say that, personally, like, I feel like my personal view of feminism does not discount the issues that men have faced.
Well, of course it does.
No, it doesn't.
Can you state to me any instance where feminism or a feminist organization has ever advocated for men in some capacity?
Yes. Okay. There's this one example of a project. It's called What Prisoners Taught Me About Feminism, right? It's taught by this one man, Richie Ursetta. He is an inmate at a prison, right? He was taught bell hooks, feminist theory really early on from a young age. He taught feminist theory to his prison inmates, and he was able to teach them how, through feminist theory and toxic masculinity, they had been, I'm trying to put this into words. It basically he taught them feminist theory, and they learned that a lot of their actions were being influenced by toxic masculinity, and a lot of their actions had led them to the decisions that they had made today, like ended up in prison essentially. Through learning about feminism, he taught them how to just have a more well-rounded perspective and include the perspectives of both men and women, and it reframed a lot of their thinking. And I think that is one example of a feminist project.
So that doesn't seem to be advocacy or like helping men, really. Well, like you can point to a prison. How many men were in this program?
I'm not exactly sure.
A couple dozen men?
Probably more than that.
So I'm thinking more, I was hoping for something more wide scale.
More wide scale?
Like mass movement.
I agree that there needs to be more. I'm not discounting that. That's why I have such a hard time coming up with...
feminists don't care about men's issues.
I wouldn't necessarily use that type of a blanket statement, because from the feminists that I have personally met, I just don't agree with that, and that's me speaking on personal experience, and it's okay if we don't align on that.
In fact, I would actually go even further to say that where some form of actual equality between men and women could be achieved, or some benefit to men could be actually achieved, women will actually, or I shouldn't say women, feminists will fight against it. So, for example, in Florida, this is pretty recent, there was a feminist organization, I believe it's called NOW, the National Organization for Women. There was something to equalize custody between men and women. If there's it should be assumed that there should be a 50-50 split in custody in Florida. And feminist organizations actually fought against it, even though that would provide equality between men and women. Furthermore, feminists will fight against a form of equality if that equality in some conceivable way could come at the detriment of women.
I think that in that example, yes, I can see your point in that. My personal experiences, though, have not proven that.
Okay.
Well, I guess, so since feminism has progressed since, let's just say the 50s, 60s, I think that's about when those topics were addressed, or the term feminism was coined. Since those, I guess, thoughts, since their inception, the natural progression of feminism has led to the point where they do not care about men's rights, or they will actively oppose men's rights, because that's a natural progression of feminism. Now, I understand that your position, that your idea of feminism is not exactly that, but feminism now and ideas in the past that have been posed naturally lead to the point where it's either men or women. It's men against women. So I just don't see... I don't see how feminism actually provides solutions that bring people together. It always seems to tear societies apart.
Can I provide like a little bit of my take on the situation? Okay, so in the past, like, I forget exactly when the term was coined, but it was coined relatively recently. I want to say around 10 to 20 years ago. But the term of there's a subsection of feminism called intersectional feminism, right? And it takes into account the multiple identity factors of women and how this influences their experience as women, right? Before this, a lot of times women of color and white women were kind of pitted against each other. It was not productive for the movement as a whole, right? I would argue that a lot of women who consider themselves feminists are in a deep place of hurt from their experiences with men. I have been in a deep place of hurt from experiences with men. I have been the type of person to be like, oh, I don't want to work with them, I don't trust them, whatever, da-da-da-da-da. And it's taken me a long place to get to the point where I don't think gender equality can be achieved solely based with women. I think that it does require men and women working together, of course.
Yeah.
I think that...
Sorry,
my bad.
No, you're good. Go for it.
I think that because a lot of women are in a place of hurt, it's hard for them to even open up to the possibility of working with men or considering the experiences of men as well. And I can't say I'm for sure on this, but I really hope that at one point more people can realize that the only way for social change is through collective action in the majority. And because, like, majority of the population can't just be like, if you want social, like, all social movements in the past, like civil rights, like anything regarding that has been when the majority of the population adopts it finally, and that's when it's been able to actually see progress. I think that feminism will truly see progress when men and women can work together, right? But I think that a lot of women are just at a place of hurt where they can't open themselves up to that
It's
right now.
not what it's supposed to be.
okay.
Like
I
what
agree.
it.
Well, so even the way you framed it right there, you've had terrible experiences with men. Therefore, we need to address societal issues that involve men.
No,
Well, okay.
not necessarily.
The same thing can be said about men in their experiences with women.
Hell yeah.
I know
That's the point.
guys. Well, I have buddies in particular
Yeah.
who have been their lives have been destroyed by women.
yeah.
And I don't
So-
think their experiences should be discounted at
Yeah,
all.
no,
That's the point.
agreed. So instead of, I just don't see any progress that can be made. I don't see any progress that can be made if I guess.
Aggressiveness of the.
No. I'm saying I don't see how any progress can be made if the movement is based upon this other.
Us against.
It's
Yeah.
us versus them. So when it comes down to feminism, it is very much we are being oppressed by a male-dominated culture.
Yeah.
Therefore, we need to combat that male-dominated culture to achieve some kind of equality. I don't think that brings about any kind of unity. Sorry.
I agree fully, and I don't know if like what I'm saying is coming across. I don't know why that's fucking funny.
Hold on.
But that's literally what we've been trying to say is when it's equal.
I agree with your point that the us versus them mentality isn't productive, because it never is. Like, I truly think that's
But
never
that is the
productive.
antithesis, or not?
It's what
That
it's
is the
turned
genesis.
into.
That is the genesis of feminism.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's
Men
right.
have it better. We're oppressed. Women are oppressed. Men are the oppressors. Patriarchy theory.
Doesn't mean
Yeah.
it's
Well,
right. And
again,
doesn't mean
like,
that
what's
it's
the
not
what's
outdated.
the? I guess what's the end goal of feminism?
Equal.
It's okay. Well, the thing.
True feminism.
So
not
okay,
this
okay.
hateful.
I can engage with this. So if it really is equality, then we're trying to achieve something that's impossible because men and women are not equal.
Yeah, but there's
They're
being
okay.
treated
Well,
equally
let's think about
and
this. Let's
being
think about
physically and mentally equal.
Okay, can I just want to complete my thought.
Yeah.
If we're going to think about this logically, there is no way that men and women can be perfectly equal. Take strength. Men are always going to be stronger than women.
Yeah.
Take
that's not the
childbirth.
point. That's the
Men will never be able
Then we're
to
doomed.
birth children.
Then we're doomed forever.
Why are we
right?
trying?
What the-
Okay,
Stop,
just
let him
stop. I'm trying to explain to you why men and women can never be equal. So instead of trying to force equality down people's throats when it can't be achieved, we realize, okay, there's going to be certain struggles that men face. There are going to be certain struggles that women face.
Yes.
But we have to figure out. We have to be able to provide rights and freedoms that are equally available to all.
Okay.
What
You're
rights?
saying what I'm
okay,
saying in a
no,
different way.
no. I'm not saying what you're saying. What rights and freedoms are given to men but not women? That's all I'm
sorry
saying.
that
If
you
we
don't-
have that,
I mean, I
so
don't
if we
feel bad that
have
you don't
that,
experience
okay,
it, but-
if we have that, then why are we focusing on this issue that's not there? If women have the freedoms that men do, they have the same rights and freedoms that men do, why are we pointing at something that doesn't exist? So if we really wanted to bring people together, if we really wanted to bring men and women together,
Yeah.
instead of demonizing one sex over the other, maybe we should just realize that that the issue is not there. There is not an issue when it comes to men versus women in rights and freedoms.
I don't know how many more ways I can say it that like I'm agreeing with you, but it's the view of feminism currently is still as if it was the same view as it was when it first started.
Yes, regardless.
It's outdated.
I've
That's
given my
outdated.
point. I've given my point of view.
I'll bring it back